Hello, my name is Jess, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own custom handles for any bag project. Welcome to the Sallie Tomato YouTube channel. If you're new to sewing or like sewing beginner-friendly projects, hit that notification and subscribe button to stay up to date on all of our latest tutorials. Custom bag handles are a great way to make your handmade bags truly unique to your own personal style. Today, I'll be walking you through our free pattern that offers 3 different handle shapes and 2 assembly options, giving you a variety of options to create the perfect look for your bag. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to cut various handle shapes and incorporate hardware for an extra sparkle and versatility. This free pattern was inspired by you guys. We get so many requests for various handle options for different styles of bags, so we decided to create a free pattern that offers a variety of options for you to choose from. Before we get started, be sure to grab a pattern, see the description below this video, and follow the link to access the pattern information. All of the supplies that you need are listed within the pattern, and this particular pattern requires non-woven fabrics, so you can use materials such as cork fabric, faux leather, or micro suede. So once you decide on your fabrics, cut out your materials according to the pattern, and let's dive into the tutorial. First of all, let's review the cutting instructions for this project. There are multiple style options to choose from. I'm using the Kristen Bag Pattern as a canvas to display each of the handle shaping options, as well as the flat handles and the folded handles. The 3 handle shaping options include the round cut, the pear cut, and the cushion cut. All 3 handle shapes are available for either the flat handle style or the folded handle style. As you can see, the flat handle style attaches directly to the bag without using any hardware. And the folded handle style has a faux piped appearance, and it's a little bit more functional with the addition of the rectangle ring hardware. The hardware allows your handles to bend and move a little bit more freely. However, the flat handles do add a little bit more durability and stiffness if that's the desired look that you prefer for your project. The round cut and pear cut handle ends measure 2 3/8 inches wide when finished, and the cushion cut measures 2.5 inches wide. For this project, we did go ahead and make our own reusable templates using a clear template plastic. These reusable templates are really useful if you plan to make multiple handles for various bags. If you're curious to learn how to create your own reusable templates, we've added a link below for a video tutorial for several methods on creating your own templates. I designed this pattern so that way the finished length of the handle from end to end measures about 25 inches long. Once attached to your project, the strap drop, which is the measurement from the top of the handle to the top edge of the bag, measures about 8 inches. Of course, if you prefer longer handles, you could cut additional lengths for the handle according to the pattern and join multiple pieces to reach your desired length. I will explain how to join the handle pieces so that way you can use that same technique for joining additional pieces of handle to meet your desired length depending on the look you're going for. Next, I'll review how to join lengths of faux leather or cork fabric. Skip ahead to the next section of instructions if you don't need to join your handle pieces. Join 2 main fabric pieces by placing the short ends right sides together, perpendicular to each other. You'll want the ends to overlap a little bit. An 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch of overlap is ideal. Then sew a diagonal seam from corner to corner. I'm using a 2.5 millimeter stitch length for piecing. Then take your scissors and trim the seam allowance to measure 1/4 inch wide. Finger press the seam open and top stitch 1/8 of an inch from each side of the seam. I'm using a 3mm stitch length for top stitching. You'll also want to trim the excess seam allowance so it is even with the length side edges. Then you'll repeat the same steps to join any remaining pieces. Next, I'll show you step by step on how to assemble the folded handles with hardware. First, you'll need to cut 2 pieces for your handles according to the pattern. I've already went ahead and joined my pieces. You'll need a rectangle cut according to the pattern for the back side of the handle connectors. And then you'll need to cut 4 handle connector pieces according to whichever shape that you would like. For this pattern, there is the option to include interfacing. I do recommend interfacing to prevent your fabrics from stretching and make them more sturdy and stable with use over time. You can use multiple pieces of interfacing to meet the required length or size of your pieces. If you choose to add interfacing, you will only need to fuse it to the wrong side of your handle pieces as well as the handle connector back piece. For the folded handle style, you will also need 4 1.5-inch wide rectangle rings, and there is the option to add small Chicago screws or rivets. If you chose to add the optional interfacing, you'll want to center and fuse the interfacing to the wrong side of main fabric pieces A and B, following the manufacturer's instructions. Next, we'll prepare the handles. I've already went ahead and completed this step. You'll want to mark on the wrong side of each of your main fabric handles according to the pattern. You'll measure in from each top corner and make a mark along the short edge, and then measure down along the length and add a mark along each long edge. You'll repeat for the opposite end of the handle as well as your other handle ends. Then you'll draw a diagonal line connecting the adjacent marks. These lines will be used for creating the tapered handle ends. After marking, cut along each diagonal line to taper the ends. Next, with wrong sides together, fold each length edge of both handles to the center. It's helpful to use basting tape, basting spray, glue, or sewing clips to hold the raw edges in place. Next, mark a vertical line in from each short end according to the pattern. I've already went ahead and added my markings. Then over at the machine, starting at a short end, top stitch 1/4 inch from the fold edge up to the vertical line. Pivot, then top stitch along the line, pivot, and continue down the opposite fold of the handle with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, stopping at the short end. After top stitching each of the handle ends, on the wrong side, trim away the fabric about 1/4 inch inside the stitching on each end of the handle to help reduce bulk. Next, thread each short tapered end of the handle through a rectangle ring and fold each end to the underside of each handle, aligning with the nearest marked line. Then, with wrong sides together, fold each handle in half lengthwise. Use sewing clips to hold the layers together. Fold as close as possible to the rectangle rings without puckering the handle ends. Begin top stitching 1.5 inches from each folded end across the handle. Continue top stitching along the length of each handle with 1/4 inch seam allowance from the folded edge. After sewing, if you'd like to install a rivet or Chicago screw, now is the time to add the hardware. Measure in from each folded end and install the rivet or Chicago screw according to the manufacturer's instructions. You can visit our YouTube channel for hardware tutorials. We love adding hardware whenever possible for added style and support. Next, prepare the handle connectors. With wrong sides together, equally space each of the main fabric pieces C, which are the handle connectors, against the main fabric piece B. You can use basting spray, basting tape, or glue to hold the connectors in place. After each of your handles are secured, then take your scissors and cut along the outer edges of each of the connectors to create 4 connectors. By cutting around each of the connectors, you're ensuring that the back side of the connector is even with the edges of the front. I've already went ahead and completed the next step. You'll want to refer to the pattern and measure down from the top narrow edge and mark a horizontal line across each of your connectors according to the pattern. Beginning at the top raw edge, top stitch each side of the connector with an 1/8 inch seam allowance down to each of the marks. Do not sew across the connector on the marked line just yet. Now is the time to add any optional edge coat to the outer edges of each of the handle connectors. You can add a sealed professional finish to the outer edges of the connectors with gum triagacanth edge coat paint and a roller pen. You can visit our blog for a step-by-step tutorial and video on how to apply edge coat. Next, attach the connectors. Thread the top of each connector through a rectangle ring from the right side to the wrong side and fold the top of each connector 2 inches to the wrong side. Add a sewing clip to hold each folded end in place and top stitch approximately 1/2 inch from the folded edge of the connectors. I have a very narrow foot attached to my machine, but you can also use a zipper foot to help stitch close to the hardware. Next, with right sides up, position one handle on the front of your bag as desired. You can use basting tape, glue, or sew tight magnets to help hold it in place. You'll repeat to position the remaining handle on the back side of your bag. I've already went ahead and positioned my handle on the front of the Kristen tote bag pattern. Top stitch approximately 3/4 of an inch from each top folded edge of the handle connectors, then top stitch an 1/8 inch from the curved edges of each connector. After sewing, trim any loose threads, and like I mentioned, attach the remaining handle to the back side of your project. If desired, you can install additional rivets to further secure your handle connectors in place and add additional detail. Next, let's create the flat handles without hardware. Next, let's review the cutting instructions. You'll need to cut a total of 4 pieces for the flat handles. I only have 2 pieces here because I will be showing how to make one handle since my other handle is already complete. The flat handles also include the option for adding interfacing, which I do recommend to add stability and durability to the length of the handles to prevent the fabric from stretching over time. You can cut out multiple lengths of interfacing and overlap the ends if needed to meet the desired length according to the pattern. First, we'll add the optional interfacing. Center and fuse the interfacing to the wrong side of 2 main fabric pieces D, following the manufacturer's instructions. I highly recommend adding interfacing to prevent your strap from twisting or stretching. I'm using hair canvas interfacing, but you could also use a light to mid-weight woven or even a non-woven interfacing. Honestly, whatever you have will work great, and it depends on how stiff or soft you want your handles to be. Now we're ready to create the handles. On the wrong side of 2 handles, align your choice of handle connector piece included in the pattern at each handle end and trace the outer edges of the pattern piece. I'm showing the round cut handle connector style. However, the steps will be the same regardless of your chosen style. Next, on the wrong side of 2 marked handles, draw horizontal lines connecting the straight edges of the connectors to shape the handle. After marking, cut along the outer marked lines to shape the 2 handle pieces. Like I mentioned before, I'm only showing one handle since I've already went ahead and attached the remaining handle to my bag. I definitely recommend using a rotary cutter and ruler to cut the straight edges. However, I'm going to quickly cut my handle using scissors. With wrong sides together, center one shaped handle over each remaining handle piece D. Use basting spray, basting tape, glue, or sewing clips to hold the handles together. I've already went ahead and marked a line across each handle according to the pattern. You'll want to begin sewing at the marked line. Top stitch an 1/8 inch from the outer length side edge. I have a very narrow foot attached to my machine, but I highly recommend using a Teflon foot or non-stick foot to help you sew smoothly over your fabric. Stop sewing at the opposite marked line. Then you'll repeat for the opposite length side edge of each handle. When you top stitch the opposite length side edge, you'll want to make sure to begin sewing on the same side that you began sewing before. This will also help prevent your strap from twisting. After sewing, trim the excess fabric even with the outer edges of the shaped handles. At this point, now is a great time to add edge coat for a sealed professional finish to the outer edges of your handle. You can visit our blog for a step-by-step video tutorial on how to apply gum triagacanth and edge coat paint with a roller pen. And finally, we'll attach the handles. With right sides up, position one handle on the front of your bag as desired. I've already went ahead and positioned my handle on the front panel of the Kristen tote pattern. You can glue baste or use sew type magnets or washi tape to hold each of the handle ends in place. Start by top stitching along the marked line, then pivot and top stitch an 1/8 inch from the curved outer edges. Repeat for the opposite end of the handle and repeat the same steps to attach the remaining handle to the back panel of your bag. If you'd like to install rivets or Chicago screws through the handle ends for added style and support, position and install as desired. Definitely check out our YouTube channel for video tutorials on how to install rivets and Chicago screws. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make your own bag handles, and we look forward to seeing how you incorporate them into your projects. If you have any other questions or suggestions, drop a comment below and we'll be there to help. Show off your photos of your completed project using your bag handles. We would love to see your style. Use the hashtag SallieTomato and hashtag DIY bag handles on social media so we can see it. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future videos. We would love for you to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. I hope you'll check out the rest of our pattern line for more creative projects. I will see you next time.